All right. Wait. I think it should work. Yeah, look at that. I think we're live. All right.
Nice.
I'm joined today by Sensei AbuAmerican. A very, how do you say it? Very special guy that, he literally wrote the book on how to vet women. The man has 4 wives, which makes him either like incredibly stupid or incredibly capable. We'll see. Because most people can't even handle one.
Sometimes I wonder myself.
Yeah, well, very happy to introduce you to him. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, give me a quick rundown of like who you are, how you got to where you got to be now, etc. Like, what's who are you in a few short words?
Well, I mean, I'm known online as AbuAmerican.
Yeah.
Obviously African American. I'm a revert. What revert means is like I became Muslim, but I had like a extensive non-Muslim past. I guess I'm kind of. Andrew did the same thing. Ain't that something? And then when I came into Islam, I always had a thing for women. I mean, I didn't come into Islam for women, but I always had a thing for women. And then I just started marrying women, and then it turned out to be like somewhat of a curse and a blessing. And I learned a lot about women and Muslim women, and then I started writing and teaching people about living with women, especially multiple women under one.
Help me out. What is the difference between a convert and a revert?
Revert, it's just a term that we use in Islam because they say that a person is born upon his natural condition. His natural condition is Islam, meaning he'll believe in God, he'll worship God. If you leave him alone, he won't grow up to be an atheist, and that's the natural state. And so you're brought back to that when you become a Muslim.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I picked up the word, but it's good that I asked. All right. So, and you're also in the real time zone. So both of us are there, which is awesome. Yeah. But you're American. So how did you end up here?
I ended up I'm in Germany, and I ended up in Germany with the U.S. military. I come from a military family. If you want a little history lesson on my family, my family, they're escaped slaves. As we know, really? African Americans were brought as slaves to the United States, and my family were people who escaped from the South to the North, and then they went back to the South and they fought. So it's been a tradition in our family that every generation has some men in it that serve in the military, so that we have combat experienced family members to protect ourselves from potentially falling back into slavery again, so that it doesn't happen.
Wow!
And so my father was in the military. My son's special operations soldiers right now. I stayed here, same thing, military. So Germany, that's where the largest. Well, not anymore.
I mean, if you're going to be anywhere in the military, it probably should be Germany, because they keep declaring war on the world. So it's a good place, man.
Yeah. Indeed.
And they keep almost winning as well, which is amazing. Like you would assume.
It's amazing that they're always in the center of every world conflict there is. It's kind of worrying.
And they keep getting close, right? I mean, you would assume one country, declaring war on the world, they would lose immediately, but they don't. Like they keep almost winning. It's incredible. Well, 3 times the charm. Anyway, so and at what point? So you're from a military family. You guys were Christian or not religious at all?
Not really religious, but we did identify as Roman Catholics. My father was Baptist. His father was a preacher, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So
but it wasn't a big thing growing up for you, religion?
Nah, not really.
No. So and like at what point do you get introduced to Islam and get interested in it?
That was in 1996. It was about 1996, 1997. I got introduced around the first or the second Gulf War? Was that the first Gulf War?
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
No. No. Yeah. We're both old, so he's
yeah.
I know.
It was way back then.
It's hard.
And basically, it's like most of the soldiers. I was at Ramstein Air Force Base at the time, and a lot of people got deployed to Saudi Arabia. And so what happened was the Saudis, they were just good at teaching people about Islam. And so what you found is that 60% of the U.S. soldiers, which is close to 250,000, became Muslim.
Really?
And from that 60%, 80% were women. And so one of my homies came back. He was white. Most of my friends are white, you know. So
Yeah.
So my homie, he came back from Saudi Arabia and he was like, "Yo, I'm Muslim now." And I was like, because I said, "Hey, you back, man? Let's go to the club." And he's like, "Nah, I'm Muslim now. I can't go to the club. I don't drink anymore." I was like, "All right, homie, let's hang."
Yeah.
Because I was happy my boy was back.
Yeah.
And he
Sure.
said, "Yeah, I became Muslim." And I was like, "Yo, you can't be Muslim. You're white. Islam is only Arabs and brown people. What are you talking about? You're Muslim." And then he's like, "No, it doesn't work like that." And then I realized that, like, you know, I had zero clue about Islam at that point.
Yeah.
And then that was basically the start of my journey. In 1998, I became Muslim.
And I mean, if this is like, so this is 1998, and then you get like the 2001, the terror attacks, like, and that was like because for a while, for a couple of years, like every week there was like a new Muslim terror attack. It was the flavor of the day.
It was crazy.
I mean, for whatever reason, the terrorists stop attacking now. It's weird. Like the news just
they stopped getting paid.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's weird. But that must have been a rough time, man. Like because
it was interesting. I remember actually September 11th. I was at Ramstein. I was at my desk, and my coworker, she was a Hispanic lady. I forget her name. She walked by. She said someone flew an airplane crashed into the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And I said, why were they flying so low? They didn't have an altimeter? I mean, you can't see that building out the window? And she just looked at me like with her mouth wide open.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay. So I went online because we had just started getting like internet then. And it was like, man, the internet you really couldn't watch anything. It was so frozen. Yeah. But then I realized like, I was like, okay, it's like that. And they literally, at Ramstein Air Force Base, the commander gave like soldiers amnesty for like, you know, fights, whatever else, for like 24 hours. He's basically like saying, go out and beat people up. Basically, it was
really,
it was crazy, dude. So I was ready. I was like, oh man, I said, I gotta like, you know, I gotta go out here and be ready for these dudes. You know, they're gonna jump me, but nothing happened.
Okay, that's a good thing. So, because like. And for you, like, because I remember flying around that time. Well, this is just like, I was flying around 2002, so not too long after that. And there were like people with machine guns, and then every single dude with a beard got, you know, patted down. For a while, it was really grim, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the Charlie Hebdo attacks. I don't even know when that was again. 2005.
Yeah, I don't know when that was, but yeah, I was in Europe. I was in Germany at the time. No,
and then,
I was actually in Qatar. Yeah.
So that there was this massive anti-Muslim, anti-Islam sentiment going on.
Indeed.
Did that like affect you in your personal life or your work in any way?
Work, no. You know, I've always worked around like, you know, highly professional environments. And so there's always been that, like, even though there wasn't the cancel culture back then, it was more of a culture of like, look, yo, you got a problem. Don't bring it here. You know, come in, do your job.
Work is work.
Yeah. But personally, yeah, I kind of started restricting myself from like crowds and places, whatever else, because the reality is this, and you know, it's not like excusing anything, but a lot of people don't realize this. If you do the math, Muslim terrorists kill more Muslims than they do non-Muslims.
Yeah,
and it's been like that for a long time. And so since I have a pretty staunch stance against like terrorists and terrorism, you know, it makes you a target, because then they say like there's a term in Islam called murtad. That means like you left Islam, and the ruling on someone who left Islam is to kill them just because you disagree with them. So if you disagree with them, they use that as a springboard to be able to cut your head off or whatever else, you know, on video, or you know, them guys are nuts, you know, so run you over with a truck or some goofy stuff, you know. So I just like, you know what, let me just back off, because it's like
I want to keep my head.
Yeah.
You
know, I mean, I was ready for action. I tooled up. I mean, I went out and I bought a Steyr M40. I bought a Ruger 22. You know,
bro, can you have that in Germany?
Yeah, I got a weapons card in Germany. Yeah.
Oh, fuck's sake, I don't have that.
Yeah. You gotta get one, bro. So I tooled up. You know, I kitted out. You know, and I was like, all right, you know, you come. What's up? You know, but
yeah,
it's like I wasn't looking for trouble, but it's you come looking.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually, so I'm sort of moving off of my scheduled whatever. But I noticed that you posted a picture of sort of like the environment you live in, which is sort of rural, right? It's not in the big city. And I'm very much the same way. I've always said that, you know, cities. I think cities sort of drive people insane in a way where it's too close. I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't think it's good for people.
No.
And I suspect you have a same stance on that.
I believe very strongly that it's not good for a human being's psychological well-being to live so close together with people like in apartment buildings. I can't imagine it. It's just, it would drive me nuts. The idea that I go outside, on my right there's a neighbor, on my left there's a neighbor, above me and below me there's people. It doesn't feel right. I can't imagine that you would socially come out as a well-adjusted individual with that sort of like just people so close together. When we look historically at just humanity and the way we've come up, it's so far outside of like what we're used to. And for that matter, excuse me, can I go politically? How politically correct do we have to be here?
I mean, go for it, man.
as much as I am, even as a black man in Europe, it's just this entire multiculturalism and everything, where we mix like multiple cultures, religions, this, that, the other, ideas and concepts, and just throw it in a pot. We can't do that with food. How are we doing it with people?
Yeah,
you know.
True.
You're gonna throw like 10 different flavors inside one thing, some sugar in there with your salt and your pepper.
It's gonna taste like shit.
It doesn't work.
Won't work.
So just in general, all of this is like not good for the human psychosis. I love being away from people. I'm a hunter. I like being out in the forest. So yeah.
Oh, you hunt as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you use a crossbow, or what do you use?
No, I wish you could use crossbow.
Like a bow and arrow?
No.
Javelin?
308, but I haven't been hunting in so long, but 308, that's pretty standard.
So, because in Germany, I mean, it's a big country. Like there's a lot of countryside. What I see is that a lot of people, I was in real estate for a long time, right? I worked in real estate for 15 years.
Nice.
And I was always amazed because people kept sort of congregating in one spot, and then they sort of justified it by saying, yeah, my friends are there, and this is where it's happening. But you can just, you can ride a bike. It's a very Dutch thing, but or you can drive a car, and you can just go there, and then when you're done, you can go back. It's amazing, and it's way cheaper as well.
Indeed.
It's retarded. But I used to like sell real estate in Amsterdam, bro. I mean, a complete shithole cost like the same as my current house does, and it was a dump. It was bad. Like, what is wrong with people? It's weird.
Yeah, I can't call it, man. It's the strangest thing. I really don't.
You must.
Zero
well, true, but you must. I mean, this feeling that I'm describing, where you look around and you say, "What's wrong with people?" You must have that a lot, like even more than I have, because you're.
I picked it up. I lived in London, and I picked it up in London. In London, you really get to see like how many mentally ill people are actually walking the street, just untreated, unrestrained. I don't know what to do with them. But there's just a lot of like mentally ill people and people who like have just signs. And I only briefly and lightly studied human psychology for the purpose of relationships. But when you start looking at people, you see like, okay, that's a clinical issue. And then other times you're like, I don't know what's going on there. This is beyond my ability of what I've studied to identify, but there's definitely something wrong.
Yeah, something is wrong. I don't know what, but
you don't see it in the country. So there has to be some connection with people congregating together in huge numbers and mental illness. Maybe it's just you see it more frequently because there's more people. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe you can shoot them in the countryside. That's also a thing. Like, you only hunt animals, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. That would be a good scoop. All right. So, I also like. Do you sort of keep up with current events? Do you follow the news? Do you do that at all?
I do. I keep up with current events just so I know, have an idea of what's going on in the world around me and how I might have to position myself, because I have people that I take care of. I don't know if your viewers notice, I'm a guy, I have multiple wives, Islamically, I have multiple children. And so I have to think about their safety in terms of like, if you want to be free, the reality is freedom is like such responsibility. You have to take care of your own safety. I can't call the cops. They can't be the hero to my wife. I'm not going to call another man to be my wife's hero.
No, that'd be lame and gay.
My children, it's the same thing, so I have to think about their safety and their well-being on multiple levels, from financial to physical to emotional. And so I keep up the current events in terms of what can affect us as people just trying to live normal lives. But otherwise, I'm not really like in depth into stuff like what's Elon doing with Twitter, other than for a good laugh,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've seen some of your posts. They're funny as fuck. Yeah.
Thanks.
How can people find you on Twitter, man? What's your username?
At AbuAmerican. I'm at AbuAmerican anywhere. If you go and you find Abu, you just look AbuAmerican. It's me.
You should follow him. It's great stuff. Yeah.
I get spicy sometimes too.
Sometimes that's the funniest stuff usually. So before you, like in your, let's say in your previous life, right? How was it? Like, how were you with girls? Did you have a wife? Did you have girlfriends? How did that go?
I guess you could say I was always sort of a natural player. You know, I'm like 6'3". You know, I was always muscular. I was always an athlete. You know what I mean? So I always had women gravitating.
6'3", muscular black guy.
Yeah. So I always had women gravitating towards me. And let's just be real. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna speak honestly. I'm a black guy in Germany. It's like you're the flavor of the week because you're exactly. You know, you stand out and you're like, ooh, different. You know, and so you know, so I got a lot of attention. So game wasn't really a thing I had to have. I didn't have to learn that until I got older. You know, it just sort of like they just sort of piled at me.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. And then I got married.
Yeah.
But I was still dealing with multiple women. And my girl was actually fine with it as long as they didn't stay. You know, she was like, okay. Yeah, I got a good looking guy. Women are going to want him. Yeah. No, but they just can't hang out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. I see that. And then did that marriage, like, did that end or did it carry over?
It ended. We stayed together actually like 26 years in total. And I moved to Qatar and I worked for the Ministry of Defense there. So I worked for the Qatari Ministry of Defense as a trainer.
Wait, 1 second. How old are you, man?
I'm 50, bro.
Holy shit, no.
Straight up, man.
I thought you were my age, man. I'm 37.
Nah, man. You know what they say? Black don't crack, bro. Black don't crack.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we out here like, shit.
You know. I'm like, my mind is blown. Holy shit. I gotta get on your program. Well, no, I'm not black, so it wouldn't work.
Now, you know, there's lotion, man. Black people use lotion. You guys don't ever use lotion, man. I don't know what's up with that, bro.
I don't use lotion on my face. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. See, you got a tip now. See, that's why, like Bill Burr said, you always gotta have a black friend to teach you stuff, right? All right.
Yeah. Well, you know that's the main goal of this conversation. Yeah. Okay.
So then we went to Qatar. No, I was working for the Ministry of Defense there. I had like a position like of a major for a trainer. And basically things fell apart because I married 2 women. And then she was just like, okay, these women are staying, so I'm going. And so she bounced on me, you know, after 26 years. Yeah.
But she saw you sort of change.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
and then
I can't say at the time, you know, it was crazy, man. It's hard to explain. I don't know where to start with that. That's such a crazy story, man. I don't even know where to start. That could be a whole show on its own. But I went through so many transitions as a man during that phase when I went to Qatar that I can't imagine that she would have stayed. You know, I must have looked like an absolute madman. And looking back at those days, I must have been. It really just the world was coming at me like crazy, and I can't say I responded the best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a way, like I think we all go through that, and then it's hard to see. It's hard to see their perspective on it because you become different persons as you get pressured a lot, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I did a video a while back about life is long, and then I said the current Arno, the 37-year-old Arno, would absolutely beat the fuck out of the 27-year-old Arno in every aspect, like financially, physically, everything. And so it's like an upward spiral, but it's not but it's just like it doesn't go like straight up. It's like slowly, and it's, And I judging by what I'm hearing from you, you've had a similar experience where you get pressured, then you get better again and again, and sort of you work upwards.
Yes.
Is that a correct way to put it?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something I tell the guys on my channel, although, I haven't been very active lately. But what I tell the young guys on my channel, because I have a very young demographic of young Muslim men, and those guys, I love them to death, but man, they're kind of lost. And so I tell these young guys to chase the pain. There's nothing you will do more for yourself as a man than chase the pain. And I made an entire video, and it's called Men are muscle, women are flesh or skin. And basically, muscle has to be exposed to pressure and resistance in order to grow. It has to tear a little bit so it can grow. So you need to put it, you have to put it under pressure. Yes. But skin, when it cuts, it leaves scars and they're permanent. And women have to be protected from adversity. Muscle has to be exposed to it. You as a man have to expose yourself to adversity. Now, that's not to say to put yourself in unnecessary risk or problems or whatever else. But if you're not out there chasing, pushing your limits every day to the point where it's like, you know, something doesn't snap and you're like, damn. Yeah. What are you doing?
You have to do hard things. True.
You do. Yeah. You're gonna get good at mediocrity. That's what you're gonna do if you don't chase the pain. You'll get good at mediocrity.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, like you told me that. So you have 4 wives, and you.
That's reduced. Unfortunately, I've had to fire a few.
Oh, okay. Well,
there's a firing and hiring cycle. We're on a firing cycle right now. It's a recession coming. Okay.
Yeah, inflation is hard on everyone, man.
Right.
I can feel your pain. And so you move between houses. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And I think that the way you said it to me was like every sunset or something, you move houses.
Yes.
Like, is that every sunset?
Every sunset, I go to a different house. Like right now, I married a Russian woman from the region of Chechnya, and I'm at her house, and then I have my house. I go there, you know, so I'm between houses. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And have you been doing that for a long time?
This time around, I've been doing it for roughly 3 months now.
Okay. But it's not the first time that you set up some arrangement.
This is the first time I'm doing it like this. Normally, I have all my wives under one roof. Normally, I have them in the same house. And
why is this different then?
I want to see how it goes this time. You know, right now, I just decided I wanted to break from women. I love living with multiple women, but it's hard, you know. They're like the occupational forces, you know, when you look at like countries that are like occupying someone else's country, that's how they are with bathrooms, bro. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, every time I come by, you just plant a flag in there. What you doing in there? You know? So it's tough. You know, you get in the shower, it's just full of like hair. You think there's a whole cat in there. Man, living with women is tough, bro. You know? Someone's got some emotions going on, and now you got to figure it out. Like, man, what the...
Yeah, I get
it. So it's good like this.
Yeah, no, I see. Like, even if you vet them really carefully, and even if you have your game on lock, it's still hard.
Yeah, and there's no day off. I mean, generally there's no day off for you as a man. But when you're living with multiple women, then nuance counts. Because if one woman gets out of line, the other one gets the idea she can get out of line. Now you got 2 women that are out of line on the same note. Yeah. And then it just gets worse. You know, it's like a snowball. Yeah. And then you find yourself actually just being a firefighter instead of a man in a relationship with multiple women. So
you can't slack off.
Get a chance to relax.
I see. So why do you do it then?
Why?
Yeah, why?
You ever had 2 women walking around in boy shorts and stripped shirts in like your house, bro? You ever seen something like that? Just walking around cooking, massaging your feet and cutting your fingernails and stuff like this, bro? Have you ever done that?
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I can see the appeal.
Trust me, the appeal is far greater than you think. Even sometimes I'm like, man, I just need to get everybody on the roof again. Trust me, bro.
No, that was my point. Like, I mean, there's like a fair exchange here. There's fair value back and forth. Right? Yeah. Like one of the things that that I can imagine coming up is like you're the man. You have these women around you, and then it's not monogamous. What's the correct word? It's like polygamy. Is that the right word?
Polygamy is when the man or the woman practices having multiple partners. Polygyny is specifically 2 men.
No, can't do that. No. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what is the appeal for the woman? So what does she get out of it?
Well, I mean, you know, if you listen to him, a lot of people don't have a problem with him. But if you listen to him, Rollo Tomasi covers it. And he says basically it's like women would rather share a high value man than be the only wife to a low value man. And it's true. When we look historically, women have always gravitated towards men of power strong financial position or social position. This is why kings have mistresses, multiple mistresses, whatnot. So, when you have your game on lock as a man, when I say your game, I'm not talking about the game with women. I mean your life, your money, this, that, the other.
You have to shit together.
Yeah, women look at other men and they're like, he's gonna take this guy. I'm not gonna mess with this. Let me just go ahead and go with this guy right here, because this guy over here, this loser, Mr. 900 BMI is this pudgy guy. You got it.
Yes, fills the whole screen.
Exactly. So. Yeah.
Oh, I see. And what is interesting, sort of to tie into that, you say that you have a pretty big audience of young Muslim men.
Yeah.
And I talk to young men as well, both Muslim and non-Muslim. And you the words you used were they're kind of lost.
Yeah.
Like if you're I don't know 20, 22 or something, you don't have everything on lock. Like you don't have your shit together yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, are we going to tell them to marry 4 wives?
No.
What are we going to tell them?
I tell them guys right now, I tell them the same thing like everybody else is telling them. This entire sphere and this entire circle, money, muscle, game. Yep. That's your focus. The issue with Muslim men is like there's no premarital sex, and most Muslim men are generally very adamant about their beliefs. They have a very strong proclivity towards their religion, so they're not going to go outside the bounds of the religion and start just smashing and dashing. So what happens is now you're in a dilemma. You're in a position. It's like, okay, I'm at peak testosterone as a young man.
Yeah,
there's no other time I want women more.
You're horny.
Yeah, basically. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's it, right?
He's an absolute horn dog. It's true,
Yeah.
And so now he's got this. He's like, okay, well, if I want to get down, I got to get married. Yeah. And then so now you get into that position where it's like he gets a taste of the sugar, and it's like, oh, sugar. Well, how's honey? Oh, how's mango? And then you get the conversation of 4 wives, because now he's tasted the goods. I
see. And then especially in the West, where you and I live in the West, both. If a random dude comes up to me and asks, like, should I marry? My answer is always no, you shouldn't. Like that would be dumb. Yeah. And then because in your case and in Muslim case in general, like it's a religious thing. Like you have to marry to sort of, I don't know, consummate the relationship, even to start. I don't know how you say it. Like
consummate is correct. Yeah.
And then the reason why I would say no is because mostly legal ramifications, right? You're basically getting screwed. How is that different in whatever you teach, like in Muslim marriages?
I tell young guys, don't get legally married. We just get religious married. Yes. I'm religiously married. I'm not legally married and in Islam we don't have like, okay, child support, you take care of your child, but not like the way they just destroy you here in the West.
Yes.
You got there is no spousal support. There is no alimony. That just doesn't exist in Islam. You know? So
okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And I'm like, and religiously, legal marriage doesn't make any sense for us anyway, because for us, everything is a matter of haram, impermissible, and halal, permissible. So if you get legally married, the woman is still not religiously allowed to you. You still can't touch her. So it's like, why are you getting legally married? You know what I mean? There's no benefit to you as a Muslim whatsoever to get legally married, because it doesn't make the woman permissible to you. And if you're not legally married and you're religiously married, she's still permissible to you, even without the legal marriage. So it's like, why would you get a legal marriage, guys? Don't do that. I tell the guys.
So in legal terms, it's like you're sort of, I don't know, getting permission from the state, and in religious, it's like getting permission from God. Is that a good way to put it? Exactly. Okay, I can see that. And then how are things with divorce? Like, is that is it correct that only a man can file for divorce?
Yes, only the man can file for a divorce. The woman can file for a dissolution. Is that the right word? Dissolution, to dissolve the marriage. She can file for it, but there's no guarantee she'll get it. Normally, when a woman files for a dissolution, it's called like a khula. Then she has to go through a judge, or she has to go through family, and then usually there's mediation. They convince her to try and stay. Generally, it's very difficult for a woman to get a divorce, because we know women. Look at Western statistics. Something like 80% of all women, 70% of all women file for divorces.
Yeah.
And when we look Islamically, we see the same pattern. The woman will say, "Divorce me, divorce me, divorce me." She'll tell the woman to divorce you, and then when the brother does, what happens? She's like, "Oh, I didn't want you to divorce me," because they're just creatures. They're all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
So divorce wasn't put in the hands of women Islamically, because we know that they're kind of.
So and I assume like the whole mediation, is there like an imam involved in that?
It's like judge or imam. I mean, in the West, it's probably going to be something like an imam because there's no religious courts. But like if you live in the Middle East, there'll be probably a religious court that will actually mediate.
And so let's say she gets like, I don't know, beat up every day. I assume she has the chance to show that, etc.
Yeah, that's different. So now you're getting into details of like Islamic marriage. Islamic marriage. Like I have a daughter, she's 21. So if her husband's beating her up, I'm called what's called her wali, her guardian.
Yes.
So now I can go and I'm like, yo, you beating up my daughter. She's coming with me, and I'm probably gonna like Superman punch you at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Out the door. So that's different. Now when you come into stuff like this, where there's like either impermissible acts taking place or abuse taking place, this is very, very different.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like, but that's one of the. You correctly say it's like a nuance, but that's one of the things that sort of always gets cut out of the conversation. Like
these are family affairs. It's not a government affair. There's nothing really for the government to get involved with. I don't know why they want to get involved with it. This is a family matter. Two families have united, and it's like there's a problem between there. Why is the government now starting to decide who gets money, whatever else nuts? That's my grandchild if it's my daughter. It's not your grandchild, Mr. State. I know you want your taxes, but you can eat a bag of palaces. I'm trying to stay halal here, homie. And then it's like, so what do they have to do with all this stuff? So I advise these young men. It's like, yo, there's under no circumstances should you be dragging a state into your marriage. Why? This is a family matter. It's just like, whether y'all hate each other or not, y'all chose each other, y'all ended up together, and if a child is involved, the government is not going to be your friend under no circumstance. They take like 40% of your check. You think this guy like cares about your kid?
Yeah, I know the feeling.
If he did, he'd leave the money for you and your kid.
Yeah, that's true. So in like what you see in the West, like we have this massive I don't know, growth or outbreak of degeneracy, simping, OnlyFans, porn. Is that a thing in Islam as well? Is that growing?
I mean, that degeneracy is just going worldwide. It's like really spreading rapidly. It's like it's really bad. It's causing like a lot of problems. I think it's but the issue is I don't only see it from a male side and perspective. And I can't remember who said it. It might have actually been like my dude Andrew Tate. I can't remember. It was either him or Rollers who basically said that like what is pornography to men is social media to women. But there's a shame culture associated with pornography, but there's not a shame culture associated together with social media.
Exactly.
So we have women running around who are literal porn addicts. They're literally addicted to social media, and it's completely ignored and accepted by society. And then at the same time, we're saying, men, get off porn. You're a porn addict. Go get help. It's like, wait. So, okay, he gets help. She doesn't. And is the relationship going to last? No, because you still have one untreated person like in a relationship.
Yeah. No, I see. And is that sort of ties into what I wanted to ask? Like I've seen some of your videos where some of your wives appear, and I don't know the right words, but they're wearing, is that the hijab or the
niqab? My wife's covered her face.
Help me out. A hijab, a burqa, a niqab.
Okay, so hijab is basically like the head. Niqab is the face. Burqa is generally specific to like the Southeast Asians, like the what do you call this? Afghanistan, Pakistan, and that's a specific look. But you could just say the whole face veil.
Okay, and the hijab is just the hair.
Yeah, it just covers the hair and and the face is open.
And your wives have the niqab, right?
Yeah, face veil.
Okay, and I mean, tell me about that, because I when I look at whatever like discussion about Islam, etc., breaks out, especially in politics, like this is one of the biggest things that they bring up. Like these women are being suppressed and forced to wear like a like a garbage bag or something. Yeah.
Because the thing is this. Females have a choice until it comes down to the choice to put on more clothing. Then all of a sudden, everybody's got laws like, no, you can't wear that. It's the wildest thing to watch. Like,
that's good. More clothing.
Yeah, you can't wear that in here. You uncover now, woman.
No.
Robe, or I don't. It's okay. That's probably extreme, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, I can
And
feel your
so,
direction. That does.
yeah, that whole thing with my women, I don't get involved with that. As long as they follow Islamic dress, I don't get it. If they want to wear niqab, they can wear it. If they want to go out without it, they can go out without it. I don't get involved with that. That's her business. Just as long as you are properly covered Islamically from the basics, which I believe is hijab, you know.
Yep.
But if my wives choose to wear niqab, they're like, no, my face isn't for everybody.
That's interesting.
That's
So they're not doing it because you tell them to.
No,
They're doing it because of their religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my Indonesian wife, she says she wears it because she doesn't want men looking at what's mine, meaning me. So she's like, they don't have the right to look at me. That's for you only.
Okay, I can see that. So you're not like forcing these people into it.
Yeah, man. My absolute standard is only the Islamic standard that I understand, and which is the hijab. Okay. And it's her right to not wear it. You don't have to wear it, but she can't be my wife then.
But walk me through that. What is like is that in the Quran or is that in one of the additions to it? Help me out.
It's alluded to in the Quran where it's said in a verse to like tell your women to cover themselves, and then what happens is you have the Sunnah or the Hadith, like the statements of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that further explain it. And so we see from like the Islamic texts and history how the women covered, and so then that's where the idea of how they covered hijab, face veils, and whatnot comes from. Because what happens is during that time of revelation, how it was supposed to be practiced was actually explained by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And so we understand that, okay, if the women were acting like this in his time, then that was what was expected. And so that's where we get the hijab and the face veil and all that.
I see. And why do they cover up?
I mean, women are beautiful, bro.
I do agree. Yeah, we agree on that.
Real talk. And it's like, and men are visually attracted, and there's just a lot of issues connected to that. But just mostly the primary reason they do it is because they were commanded to. A lot of times there's things in the religion that we don't understand, but it's just a command. And so this is where belief comes in, like eating pork. You'll find like so many people have so many explanations. There's this disease in pigs and whatever. We were never given any of those explanations. We were told not to do it. You don't do it. Okay. Yeah, so that's it,
Not eating pork makes sense though.
Yeah, I mean, even the doctors say it nowadays. So it's like,
but I can sort of see what you mean. Like it makes sense because you find reasons for it, but you don't need reasons for it. It's just this is the way it is.
There's a lot of reasons for a lot of stuff, but sometimes it's not that clear. And to be honest, when it comes down to like hijab, I never looked at the why. There probably is a why. I never looked at it, to be honest.
Okay.
But we understand that just women are beautiful, bro. I mean, it's like, you ever seen them? The women is anyway. You know what I'm saying?
No, I never look at women.
You just walking down the street, we're like, what? That girl haram is haram. And it just throws your whole mind off. It can completely throw a man, especially a young man, it can throw his whole mind off for a day, if not longer.
Yeah, certainly been guilty of that. I can't lie. It's
they can put a man off his mission,
Yeah. So, and for you, at what point do you go to Qatar? When is this?
I can't remember the year exactly. I had a son that was born in Qatar. So he's 14 now, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, I was in Qatar.
And this was for military?
Wow. I'm sorry.
Military stuff?
Yeah, I was working for the Qatari Armed Forces. I was working for the Qatari Ministry of Defense. And I was an instructor for them. You
just had that old man moment, right? Where you realize, holy shit, I
was like, damn, I was like, has it been that long? It really feels like last week, bro.
Yeah. For you, it's got to be even worse. Like, you're 50. Holy shit.
Yeah, bro. It really caught me off guard. I was like, wait a minute, dang, it's been that long. So like 15 years ago, because my youngest son is 15 and he was born in Qatar. So no, he's 14. He's born in Qatar. So yeah.
So how many kids do you have, man?
I have 9 kids with number 10 on the way.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Russian girl, got a Russian baby on the way.
Good for you. And then if I remember correctly, you've had 11 wives in total?
It's probably more now.
No, you don't keep track.
I can't keep counting more. It's got to be around like 13 or 14 by now.
Okay. And then you said before, like there's a sort of a rotation. Like for you, I assume you only court or date Muslim women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, generally. I mean, there was a non-Muslim girl. She met the criteria, because there is a criteria to marrying like non-Muslim women, but it just didn't work out. You know,
Tell me about the vetting process, because that's got to be. I mean,
man.
Your standards have got to be up there, man.
Yeah, I do have pretty high standards nowadays. I'm spoiled,
Yeah,
you know, and I don't. And the reason why, like, one of the reasons why I have like a lot of divorces now is because I just don't tolerate a lot of BS. Because a woman can destroy your life, even though she can't take you for alimony. Just while I go on a rant real quick before I tell you about the vetting process, you know, if they don't yank you off your mission or make you so distracted with their drama that you can't focus on your mission, they'll find a way to destroy your life. They're in the midst. They're like the enemy behind in your back, and they can stab you. They can really destroy your life. So when you start to smell that on a woman, it's like, hey, look, you know what? Because women are like, they're like a jaded cop that'll sit around and wait for retirement. They'll wait for that cash out to get you. And, you know, don't think they're not vicious or savage like that. They are.
Oh,
you know, they're very conniving when they become angry and bitter, and they'll wait for the right moment to strike. So, you know, you really got to be vicious about this. Now, vetting came after my wife had 26 years left, and I was like, yo, well, I'm not going to get off the horse, right? Yeah. And so I was starting to have a bunch of problems with the 2 wives that I had left, and I started looking for more wives, and I realized, like, yo, like, the world has changed, you know, from dating to, you know, where I was now and all this time, because I wasn't really looking the whole time. And so everything fell apart with my 2 wives. And I was single, and I looked at the situation, and I was like, yo, what went wrong? I did everything right. I was a loving husband. I did this. I paid the bills. I did everything right according to Western ideas of what a husband does. Goofball stuff, right? And so I was like, so it wasn't me entirely. And then so I started looking. Well, actually, there was a lot of problems that I fell into. Then I came up with the whole road to mastery and all this type of stuff, and like the red pill world and like learning game, or whatever. So I said, okay, so I got rid of my beta attributes, went back out, learned game, and I jumped back out there again. Now I started I got women, and it was better, but there was still problems. And then that's when I realized it's not me. I was like, these are broken women. And now I started documenting in my mind, okay, what happened here? I looked back, what happened there? And then I started coming up with a list of like behaviors that I could spot in women very early to realize that, like, okay, you're completely inappropriate for what I want. If I was a smash and dash, this would be easy. We hit it and quit it. But I'm looking for a woman to be in my life. So then I started coming up with vetting processes, like, okay, red flag, you know. And then so the list just started growing and growing and growing and growing to the point where it stopped growing. And then that's when I wrote the vetting guide, because it's like, basically you could cover, you know, almost everything that I wrote inside the vetting guide in terms of like bad behaviors or what to look out for in women.
So, and your vetting guide is something that you look for before you even start dating, or when you start dating? How does that work?
Excuse me. So one of the things I do is one of the first things I do is, like, when I meet a woman, is I'm automatically from the get-go, I'm congruence testing her. I'm testing her for like attributes that I want or don't want, you know. Like when I say want, I say pro-cooperative attributes. Like, I want to make sure that she's like on my program and not just doing whatever the hell she wants to do. I made a video about that. It's like, is it your girl? Is she like a girl that's your, you know, part like her ex-husband, part daddy's girl, part I'm Mrs. Independent, or is she doing what you want? And then you can actually say that is my girl because she responds the way you want her to. And so I look for these types of attributes, whatever else. I look at her social media, how she uses social media, if she's on social media. I look at all of these things. And then to top it off, conversations that I throw out there, little curved conversations, you know, to see how they respond. You know, like from feminism to whatever else, things that I don't want to allow in my life. Yeah.
And then if she doesn't pass the test, she gets disqualified immediately, or how does that work?
Immediately, bro.
Like poof.
Yeah. And literally give him the line. I give him the whole, it's not you, it's me. I can't accept someone like you in my life. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. It's my high standards. That's the issue. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Okay, all clear. And then, I mean, I assume like dating isn't the easiest thing, because you're already from the get-go. You have some pretty high standards. How do you do that?
I mean, I just did a series. I have like, my YouTube premium, and I did a series called the Sister Stack. Basically, it's like,
Yeah.
how to find a sister online or offline really fast. And what I talk about in that series is that maximum 3 to 4 meetings. That's it. And you should be talking about marriage at that point.
Yes.
Islamically, there's no reason to be going back and forth like dates and hanging out and whatever else. It's all she's doing is, even Muslim women do it. They will sit there and waste your time and absorb your non-sexual time and attention. And you're just burning up your time where you should be building as a man, like doing something, writing something, building something, learning something.
Yeah. Moving forward.
Exactly. What's she doing? She's just enjoying the attention, and it gains nobody anything,
So, but walk me through, like, so you're dating, you're having the conversation, but in terms of, like, if I look at it in sales terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the way the world is sort of set up is where you go on a date, then you have sex, then you see if you're a really good match, and then maybe there's a relationship and there's marriage.
Yeah.
With you is like the whole other way around. So you sort of have to close someone on marriage before you even get intimate.
Yeah,
that's gotta be
close fast.
Yeah,
and that's what I tell brothers in that series. So basically, you can call it dating, but it's not really dating. The first meeting for me is like, you need to see her and she needs to see you. I'll give you an example. I met this girl online, talking to her. Everything was good. Vibe was perfect. She passed all my tests. There was a few red flags, but I was like, all right, these aren't ones that like, are disqualifiers.
Yeah.
Went and met her. The girl was beautiful in her photos. She looked like a garden gnome when I showed up. I was like, who? Hey, who let the overweight Smurfette here? I'm like, where? I'm looking at the phone like,
what's going on?
Hey, is this one of them catfish things? What the, so I'm like, so the first meeting is to go look at her, and she needs to see you too. You know what I mean? Yeah, so and you can catch her vibe, like how she responds to you.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
The second meeting is basically getting to go into deeper conversations and doing severe, deep vetting, like, really getting into like her ideas, her concepts, how she is, and whatever else in terms of a person. If there's a third meeting, it's because you caught something, but you're not sure if it's good or bad. You want to come back and say, okay, let's go back over this in detail. She doesn't know this, but let me bring this back up and let me check. Let me find a way to test it. Like, maybe she's a feminist. So we're going to go to a cafe. We're going to go to a coffee shop, and I'm going to intentionally spill a little bit of coffee or forget my sugar. And I'm going to ask her to go get me some sugar or some napkins. I want to see how she responds, this type of stuff where you go into deeper testing. Fourth meeting, that's family. You should be meeting the family at the fourth meeting. Fourth meeting is like, now y'all are just playing around. I was like, I'm not really sure what y'all doing after fourth meeting.
I know, I get it. Yeah.
For Muslims, it's like, 4 meetings, you should be talking about getting married or getting lost. Like,
I get it.
Yeah.
And like, you're 50 now. Is there a big age gap between you and your wives?
My Russian wife is 30. My Indonesian wife is 34. My ex-wife, my most recent ex-wife, was 21 though.
Most recent ex-wife, I like that.
Yeah. And I had a 22-year-old before that. So generally, it's like, there's no real pattern. It's all usually based off. I generally won't go above 35. Like when I married my Indonesian wife, she was 28. No, she was 29. So 30 tends to be like where I'm landing right now. But I do sometimes like, go a little bit younger.
And these are all virgins?
No. I did marry a virgin. She was the oldest I married. And we've lasted for quite some time.
But that's not a requirement.
Not for a Muslim woman, no.
Okay. Well, because I genuinely don't know. Like, I mean,
no, she could be previously married. Like, outside of marriage, I don't think I'd mess with a Muslim woman who like is
I get it.
Non-virgin from outside of marriage. But if she was previously married, then
that's different.
Yeah.
And then if you're marrying, let's say anywhere between 20 and 30, right? For for sake of convenience, that means that the younger guys are competing with the same like pool of women that you're competing with.
Indeed.
But they should lose to you, probably.
In general, they do, simply because they're kind of goofy and awkward.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to beat a young guy on like physique. Not really, not anymore, unfortunately.
Well, yeah. That used to be, but
it used to not be like that. So in terms of in general, it's hard not to beat them because your finances are more on point. You're more focused, you're more mature. Everything that women are looking for, you have more confidence. That confidence comes from competence. Competence comes from experience. Something that it's hard for him to compete because he doesn't have these things simply because he's young.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And when you say that they're sort of awkward and goofy, do you think that is something that is more modern? Is that getting worse?
Yeah, absolutely, it's modern.
Why is that?
Absolutely. Social media, again, phones. You got to imagine when I was these guys' age, the cell phone, what the heck? Internet? Yeah. You were literally, you had to be out on the street. And if you wanted to meet a woman, there was no option except to go up to talk to her. Yeah. Period. That was it. So you had to learn how to grab hold of yourself and just be like, yo, I might take this L right here, Yeah. And if you took the L, what did you do? You either quit or you kept going. Yeah. So even our geeky nerd guys kept going. I mean, I say it all the time. The nerds of our time would beat up the bullies of this time.
True.
Yeah. Because it was a completely different world. That place would eat you alive. There was no safe space. There was no political correctness. There was no canceling. There was just like, yo, you knuckle up or shut up. If you're going to run your mouth, you better be ready to fight. And if you wanted that girl, you better go run up on her now. Because you will never see her again. You won't find her Instagram because Instagram didn't exist. So
how do you let's say you grew up in this time of social media, the phone, Tinder, Bumble, all the other things, Instagram, porn. How do you sort of get from there to where you want to be? How do you get non-goofy, non-creepy?
That's a tough one, man. And I'm trying to figure out how to tell these young men this, and it's what I'm not sure I have an answer, to be honest. I tell guys, like, first off, get in a circle of men who are like motivated and driven. And I think in terms of like Andrew Tate, he's got that really good with the warm. I have a men's community, but too much focus is again on women. So it's like we're a bunch of men who gather together, and then guys start focusing on women. It's like
that always happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, my dude. But you have to get her. It's like me and being around women all the time. It's like sometimes you got to break away from that stuff, and you have to actually just go out and do masculine things. And it teaches you, like I can tell you within like less than an hour how many guys or a guy who spends more time with men or online, because you see how he communicates online. It's like, dude, you'd get punched in the mouth if you were like standing right in front of me right now. So you can tell when guys are actually out doing things with men or if he's not. And so that's what you have to do. You have to get out. You have to go do stuff actually with men. And unfortunately, that doesn't exist today. So you have to make it. Yeah. You have to build your tribe today.
You have to do it in the real world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be. This whole internet thing, it's proven to be failed. It's failed. I'm sorry. It has.
Well, we can't. We're not going back to the old days.
We're not.
I don't think so. But and it's because you said goofy, and to an extent, it's also creepy. Creepy is even worse than goofy.
Yeah, creepy.
But creepy is to also. I mean, I assume that's part porn, but it's part also just not being able to talk to a real human being, right? I
talk about this all the time. Well, not all the time, but I've talked about it recently. It's like, I have to, one bone I'll throw women, because I have my own problems with modern women, just like I do with modern men, is modern women are probably right. A lot of guys are actually just creepy. I mean, I think you probably come across it too with the social 100%. Media, how guys just get online, they get in your comment sections, they comment on your Twitter. It's just like, well, dude, why are you weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, stop being weird. You're a weirdo, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Disagree.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys and you can't see why they can't see that it's weird. It's just it's obvious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I disagree with on the internet. I don't stalk them, follow them around, and make them like my life story. Like I'm changing this guy's mind by commenting on his videos and his Twitter every single day.
No, bro.
What? Are you okay?
Yeah.
So, so I can imagine with as many men who obsess over me, how he might be with an attractive woman. You're creepy. A lot of guys just don't realize they're creepy.
Yeah.
They're creepy to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. But I feel you, man. It's hard to put into words. Like I can tell when someone is being creepy, but I couldn't describe like what is the defining characteristic. It's just you get it or you don't. It's
It's a
like
vibe. It is. It really is a vibe. It's kind of like,
exactly.
it's like,
Someone asked me yesterday or the day before, like how can I be dominant without catching a Me Too charge? And I think I said something like, don't be autistic, don't be creepy, don't be retarded, something like that. But that doesn't really help, right? I mean,
nah, in terms of practical advice, no, it's kind of like,
no.
what does that mean?
It's good advice, but it doesn't really help. Yeah. Don't be retarded.
But you need someone around you. This is why you need real world people, because you need someone to tell you, I'm 50, so I've got no filter at this point with young guys, and I'm like, that right there, dude, stop. You gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
I had a guy in London, and there was two guys I used to really spend a lot of time with London. This guy was obsessing over his wife, his ex-wife and his wife, whatever. I was like, dude, I said right there, I said, what are you talking about? He was being creepy. I said, if that was my daughter, I said, dude, I'm not sure I wouldn't throw you in the Thames somewhere, and they find you washed up down the shore, bro. You're being like mad creepy right now. You know?
Exactly.
But he never got it.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's I got a similar experience. Unfortunately, I got a similar experience with my father. Like my father and my mother divorced. This is a long time ago, probably 15 years ago or something. And he never let go. Not to this day. Like he's still like hoping everything is going to be all right. 15 years, man. And maybe it's going to be all right. And it's I mean,
you gotta get back on the horse and let that go, man. That one's run. That pony's gone.
Yeah. Well, he never found a new horse, so maybe that doesn't help. He should have had 4, man. Then you just take the 3 that's left.
There you go. There you go. Nothing will protect you from non-scarcity like multiple women.
Ooh, that's actually very good. That's actually really good, man. Yeah, that's like we were joking about it, but that's a fair point. Like just
it really is.
Just having the abundance of it. It's a
necessity. I think in this day and age, I think it's a necessity. I know it sounds a bit crazy, like not everybody can have 4 wives, but you need to have at least like a roster to where it's like in your mind, you're not obsessing over a particular woman, and that becomes your entire focus to try and keeping this woman, and it causes you to lose focus, which obviously is going to cause you to lose the woman also.
But that's the sort of the perverse thing almost, right? It becomes your main object of focus, and that's exactly what's pushing her away from you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If it wasn't so sad, it would be funny. Yeah. It's still funny though. One of the I saw, I don't know where I saw this. It might be a video, might be a tweet, but you said something about like that sort of resonated with me. I did a video on how the main danger for you as a man is like weak men around you, like men that would betray you for a sniff of pussy or something. Bro. And I can't remember where I saw it from you, but you did something either on a video or a tweet about it. But that is because you said earlier in the interview that you weren't you're not putting as much content out as before.
Yeah.
Like, are you pulling back from that and because of that reason, or there's something similar going on?
How do I start? It's a lot of different things. I just find that there's only so much you can talk about one topic. I can't really think of too much that I haven't spoken about already, which is why I started my series, which basically it's like I started a series. I have an intimacy series. Like you have a lot of Muslim men that don't have experience with women. So I started an intimacy series on like, how do you actually like be intimate with a woman? I don't go into details because there's things you can't say as Muslims. So I'm going more specific now, but like this general information, there's not really anything. It's like a circus now. Everybody just wants like to, he told her, gold digger, and guys just out here, they're just like, we got one up on the girls. Oh, look at that video. He showed her. It's just, there's really no benefit to it nowadays. What are you actually learning? And I don't know what there is to teach anymore. That's one part of it. So it's kind of boring to rehash the same thing over and over and over, which is why I went up till recently consultation style, like free consultation Fridays and whatnot. Next, the white knights and the simps, they prevent others from learning and being open about learning. So now we have Muslims, they have a very strong shame culture, and that's not bad because it keeps people in line from doing goofy stuff and changing, like we don't have this problem with drag hour reading to our kids or whatnot. Because Muslims are going to be like, yo, if you come over here reading and drag to my kid, we're going to get all Akbar on you, homie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, stop looking good, man.
You won't find too many Muslims being like, oh no, don't do that. No, most Muslims will be like, yeah, homie, yeah. I won't help him, but I'm just saying. Homie, here's a baseball bat. Yeah. You're gonna have widespread community support in terms of like keeping these people in check. So we have a very wide and strong shame-based culture, but then they use that against men who are trying to better themselves, and that's because we use the terminology the gynocentric order. It's true. It's female-dominated societies, even in the West, for Muslims. Oh, really? And so because guys are thirsty for women, they think, okay, if I take the girl side, they'll love me, Mm-hmm. Hence the whole, I hope she sees it, bro, type of stuff going on in the comment section. So that's another thing. So it prevents you from actually teaching people freely, which is why I went premium only, because anybody who's willing to pay, trolls and whatnot aren't going to pay to like get premium content. And that was another reason, that I kind of moved away from it. It's kind of like you don't feel appreciated. And then that's the third part. The third part is just in general, I don't want to throw my people under the bus. I love my people. I love the Muslims, but they don't really show a lot of appreciation in terms of like, when you give them gold, Yeah. So it's like, and I don't do it for the props or whatever else, but it's like, if I give you something good and then all y'all are doing is attacking me, it's like, it's kind of like such an inappropriate comparison, but it's like pearls before swine. But it's sort of like that, man. It's like, okay, what am I doing here? You don't appreciate it. So let me find another demographic.
That's a good Jesus quote. Yeah, right there. Pearls before swine. Yeah. No, I can. I mean, do you think? But that's not a Muslim thing, man. That's a young man thing.
I think it's a Western thing, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think in the West, we I don't know what we're doing out here, man, but we've like gone so far off the rails in terms of like just masculinity and accepting it, that it's a good thing, that it's not a bad thing, that, it's okay to be a masculine man. I mean, it's toxic masculinity, all this goofy stuff they're talking about, anything they can do to just try and like, bring men down. And it's working, they're demoralizing young men.
Winning.
To the point that now they'll turn on you for telling him, if you say to a lot of young men nowadays, be the best version of yourself, some young men will turn on you simply because that doesn't fit the narrative that they think a woman wants to hear.
Yes. Yeah, no, I see what you mean, man. Is that ties into something else? You have a background or a passion for combat sports.
Absolutely.
We share that. We share that. I like that as well. In terms of like, do you think that it sort of changes someone's mindset if they would train in martial arts or what, let's say combat sports, because martial arts, now I'm going to think Tai Chi or something, but let's, something where you actually got hit in the face and bleed. Absolutely. That would probably help, wouldn't it?
That's a very, very long-standing and, primary point that I expressed to young men that I talked to. There was literally a guy, he contacted me on Instagram, and he said, I've been raised by my mother. I have a house full of sisters. My father, he died, this, that, the other. And he's like, and I just don't feel, I can tell I'm not the man I need to be. And I said, bro, I'm not interested in your sob story. I don't want to hear it. You're crying to me, basically. Yeah. I said, I don't want to hear it. I said, you come back and you're allowed to talk to me when you show me proof that you've joined a combat sport. And I'm not talking about karate.
Yeah.
I said, you go and you get into a boxing club, you go and get into a jiu-jitsu club, sambo, whatever else, something that forces you to face another man and actually fight him.
Yeah.
And he came back with the receipt,
Really?
Yeah. So I was quite happy. So, but he never talked to me again. But I take it he took that step. So that showed that's a good sign.
It's a success story,
what most guys will do. There was another guy. He's a trader. He's a crypto trader. He moved to Dubai, and I told him, I said, hey, look, man, I said, you need to join a combat sport. And I kept on hammering on and on about it. He joined a combat sport, and then he just fell off the map, disappeared. Comes back like a year later, and he says, dude, I've never had a more significant change in my life than after when I started combat sports. He says, bro, I can't tell you how happy I am and how much I love you for telling me to do that. He says, bro, this changed my life. And I'm literally now doing a series on confidence because I'm just doing everything in series for my premium guys. And now it's on confidence. And it's the same thing. It will change you as a man. Combat changes you as a man. It tells you who and what you are.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to be a coward, and that's okay because you can kill that coward.
Yeah.
But
you don't know. Right now, you don't know, right?
You don't exactly. You don't know until
that dude comes at you.
Yeah. Exactly. And he wants to knock your head off your body. Then the reality hits.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
For you.
No, I totally agree. Like, and like, when did you pick up combat sports first?
Ooh, I was a kid. Like, I was really young. This is some crazy style do-hop-su or something my dad put me in. That was the first thing, Then I took Taekwondo. And then basically it's like I got really good at Taekwondo, but then I had gotten into a lot of fights. And that's when I wrote the book, The Mad Monkey. And I just turned out to be a street fighter. And I came to find that Taekwondo was actually quite impractical for street fights.
Yeah.
So I just got good at fighting, but I had the foundation there of how to fight, from Taekwondo, but it wasn't really a good foundation. I could throw kicks in a fight, something people wouldn't expect. Nowadays, probably everybody expects it because Muay Thai and UFC and all that didn't exist back then. So, I could catch people with kicks and whatnot, But then when I went to Qatar, I actually I started training with a professional boxer and I started competing in jiu-jitsu. And then that's when my whole okay, hey, look, I got like a full nice round cycle here, and I started doing Muay Thai. And you can see me I got pictures. I think it's probably on my Flickr, actually. Imagine that Flickr. Where I've trained with professional fighters, kickboxers, boxers, and whatnot, and I got really good at combat sports,
Awesome.
And then that's when I was sparring regularly. I was the sparring partner for semi-pro amateurs, whatnot. I was sparring partners in Saarland here in Germany for the professional and amateur fighters. I was the sparring partner. Yeah. So
So and you're still active now?
I'm still active at 50, bro.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And you look
ready
fit,
to
man. You're in
kick
shape,
ass and take names. Still ready.
Good. Yeah, well, that's the way, man. You gotta do that. And then I don't know. That must be the thing for you because recovery, etc. That sort of gets affected when you.
Recovery is pretty serious, man. Recovery when you get injured now, and this is the biggest thing that makes me realize I'm old. Recovery is long. It's long. I'll still fight through it, but it's really 3 to 5 times longer than it was when I was 23, 24.
Yeah, I know.
It's really, it's like months injuries last. They last months now instead of a few days or weeks.
Because you got the old instinct, sure, it's been 6 days. I can do this. And then you can't.
But you can do other things now. I do B12 injections, and you'd be amazed at how B12 injections help. B12 injections, you put in 1 entire milliliter B12 in you, bro, you'll feel like a new man tomorrow. You'll just wake up and yo, what the heck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like a Wolverine injection. Yeah, that's good.
It really is, man. So,
I've seen you. I've seen some of your videos, and then when you were interacting with your wives, and you come across as very almost playful, very relaxed, not like a taskmaster or anything.
Cocky funny. What my game is cocky funny with women. So
exactly.
I just use it. I can make a woman laugh at the drop of a hat, and so I just use it. Because everything is about with women, as we know, everything's about how they feel. So if you can make them feel good, even in a bad situation, all of a sudden the situation's gone from bad to good from one moment to the next. Yeah. And they literally forget that they were mad. And it's just real, because because their feelings dictate their reality. We as men, we understand that reality dictates our feelings, but women, it's the other way around. And they're starting raving crazy. When you think about it, it's your feelings dictate your reality. You're okay, what if I make you laugh right now? And then all of a sudden everything's good. And you're like, man, that was easy.
And you still have to remind yourself every once in a while, right? Oh shit, I just I make that mistake where you catch yourself going into logic. Oh no, shit, I don't no. Let me change course right now.
Off the logic. It is no place whatsoever in dealing with women.
No, I
And
mean,
as much as you understand, you still get confused because sometimes you're like, I know this works.
yes.
But why?
Yeah, what's going on?
No, I know why it works, but I don't know why. And
that is one of
you go crazy.
that is one of the hard things. Like if you talk to people about not being autistic, creepy, or whatever, like it's super difficult to get this across where you're relaxed and you're in the moment and you can be funny, but you're not going to be a clown. You can be funny, but you can't be like self-deprecating.
Yeah.
But it's hard to sort of beam that into someone.
That is
right?
important. You're not her clown. You're not her circus show. That is important. This is part of frame, because at first I was basically like helping guys get frame. When I first started like in this whole journey of like helping guys out and getting the frame in a relationship. But I realized that for a lot of guys, this is too difficult.
It is. It is.
And so, but when you run the frame of the relationship, then like, I make my humor for me. And if you're gonna laugh, that's cool. And generally they do laugh. But if you don't, that's like my girl got mad about a topic the other day, and I just started calling her retarded. I was like, "You're retarded. You look for a little retarded girl. Oh, you're so retarded. It's so cute." And she was mad. She was smoking mad. She was like, because she was dead serious. I was like,
I do the same thing.
I was like, look at you with your little balled up fist, you little retard. But it worked.
Very cute retard. Yeah, I did the same thing. The exact same thing.
You little tomato.
I can't take it seriously.
Little tiny fist. Come here. Like, just clown him. It's like, she didn't think it was funny, but later on, she was just like, I can't believe I let this guy get away.
No, I do the same thing, and it is funny. Like, I mean, and whenever you give the advice now, like, there's always a way to sort of warp it or twist it into something retarded. So I mean, there's nuance to the game, right?
Absolutely.
It's hard to teach.
It really is. It's hard to teach. It is. That's one of the reasons why I like bringing my women on air. They're always, of course, covered or off camera, but just sort of get an idea of the interaction, that it's not supposed to be like this stiff, just,
Yeah. I see what you mean.
A lot of guys take themselves too serious with these women, and that's why they have problems.
Yes. That is so true. That is so true. Like you're so desperate to come across as like an authoritative figure that
there you go.
It doesn't work, man.
No, it really doesn't. It's and there's a good saying. I think it is like the one who cares the least has the most power.
True.
So you really gotta like, you gotta show them it's like, okay, yeah, you love the woman and everything. And I think that's something that like we've lost here, that we actually do love these women, but at the same time, it's like, I love myself more.
Yes.
And so you deal with them accordingly,
Yeah, but that's an interesting thing for you to say. Like, what shines through is that you actually care for these women. Like, it's not that you're their like slave master or anything. No. Unless they ask, but
most of them do.
That's something else. Yeah,
it's a totally different topic.
Yeah, but it's like for the intimacy series, probably.
Exactly. I did the intimacy series, and I talk about that in there. And
I would imagine
they're like, weird, but hey.
Well, I could never imagine a thing like that, but maybe in fantasy land. Like for one, because last time I went live and then I didn't look at the chat, and then that was kind of rude. So if someone has questions, feel free to ask them. I got more, but if you want to bump in and you're in the chat, feel free to ask. And if your question is not retarded, I just might ask it. So if it is retarded, I'll just shame you, because I enjoy that as well. Nice. So one of the things, like you, with your philosophy and the way you look at the world, you find the red pill and the manosphere, and some things sort of mesh and some things don't.
Yeah.
Like you must have, butted heads with people in the past. Like, and I'm not even talking about like the Jack Murphy put a dildo in my ass people. Like, I'm not.
How is he still alive? How's he even got a name still? It's a crazy thing. Yeah. I don't know how
he's now a meme. It is funny though.
He's the Superman of survival. I don't know how he pulls it off. Freaking weirdo.
Yeah. But like how does that does it add up? Where does it sort of collide?
A lot of guys want to try and like combine red pill and Islam, and I hold them as two different disciplines altogether. I mean, Islam is your religion, it's your lifestyle, and red pill is, I see it more like it's a concept along the lines of accounting. There are rules that you can and can't break.
Yes.
There are things you follow and you don't go off track with, and some things as Muslims we can't follow and we can't practice. Just like in accounting. I mean, we don't do. What's it called? Usury, I think it's called. Like, these are things we can't do, but you can study finance, right? So it's the same thing with red pill. I see it as a field of study, but in the field of study of human behavior, and not just women, just humans in general. So it does put you in conflict, and a lot of times with guys in the manosphere, like in the manosphere red pill zone, because I have a lot of crossover with them. Like, there's this idea that red pill has no morals. Okay, fine, maybe red pill doesn't have morals, but I do. And then automatically, when you come across two guys, it's like, okay, well, red pill doesn't have morals and I'm red pill and I have morals. You know what I mean? Now conflict starts, and whether people think it's right or wrong or whatever else, I automatically assume the higher position of being right, because I'm when we look at like the end of red pill, the end goal, where are we right now as a society? Everybody wants to bang women, but nobody wants to marry hoes. Oh, yeah. Wait, so how? You're out here banging women, and so everybody's making hoes, but then where did the non-hoes come from? Like a magical place they spring out of the ground all of a sudden? You banged all the women. They're all hoes, man. Bro, you did it. So it's like, now it's like, okay, come on, red pill bros. Now, what are we doing here? So don't come to me with morality, and then you talk about the decline of society in the West.
It's interesting. You did maybe that was today or the day before, you did a tweet saying that if you bang a woman who's married, walk me through that, because that sort of resonated with me. I found that very interesting.
One thing I like to do is I like to stir that little nest every once in a while to get unfollowed. Yeah, that's right. Because I want that guy to follow me. So basically, the concept is this, and the idea is this. It's like everybody likes to talk about cuckolds and cuckoldry. Mm-hmm. But it's like, how is a guy who's sleeping with a married woman calling the guy who's probably a victim to a cheating wife, how are you calling him a cuckold? Because he doesn't know his wife is sleeping with another man. Yeah. So if he had the option, he might leave her. But you are knowingly sleeping with a married woman. That means you're 100% a cuckold. Yeah. It's 100%. You are riding some occupied hoo-ha.
Yes.
You weirdo. And if you both know, then you're both just in some crazy fetish that's like some weirdo stuff. And then y'all are basically, you're a bunch of guys in her rotation. Not the other way around.
Yeah. You're not doing anything like noteworthy. If anything, you're doing something like depraved or degenerate. I don't know.
I just don't see it. Yeah, and I don't see it at all. Even before I was Muslim, I was like, yo, I can go out and I can get like hot women that are single. Why is that sharing that woman over there? What? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like you could use this logic and money. Why am I going to go over here and like sneak around? Because that's what they're doing. They're sneaking and sneak over to the bar and drink someone's drink. Like, I sip out of his drink. I'm going to come to the bar. I'm going to be like, yo, give me some drinks for my homies, this, that, the other. It's the same concept. Yeah. Why are you sneaking around like drinking out of other people's glasses and whatever else? You lame. Yeah. It's disgusting to top it off.
That's very interesting. Yeah. That's a great analogy, actually. Yeah. Do you think that happens? Do you think people sip other people's drinks? Is that a thing, you think? Probably, right?
I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my travels, bro. I've been to 49 countries, bro. I've seen some crazy stuff. So, yeah.
It's probably fetish.
Yeah, exactly.
Drink book only.
It's just weird.
Someone asked, do you draw parallels between Islam and Christianity in terms of lifestyle? Depends on what sort of Christianity, right? Not the current.
Exactly. One. That's what I was just thinking. Gay. It's like when a person is practicing Christianity, there's a lot that isn't common, but obviously there's a lot that isn't also. Sure. So yes and no. I mean, they're probably not. They're very different religions from an ideological standpoint. But I have seen some Orthodox Christians in the Middle East that they would confuse you. You'd be like, wait, are you Muslim? What are you? You're like confused, like you don't know what they are because they're like so close to Islam.
Yeah.
Like Orthodox Christians in I've been to Lebanon, they call God Allah,
Oh,
they
really?
use the same term. Yes. So it
Oh,
was kind of like, what's going on here?
yeah, exactly.
You know?
You got this
Yeah,
mixed up, man.
it was kind of confusing. So, but I would say they're quite different, especially from a Western perspective. There are some, some relatively close groups the further east you go, but I think that would be so rare that it'd be more the exception than the norm.
Yeah, no, I can see that, but it's sort of like a lot of
But we have to
religions.
say prophets and messengers.
Yeah, a lot of the religions are sort of corrupted. I don't know, maybe over time, maybe modern. Why do you think that Islam is sort of closer to its roots than is, for example, Christianity? I don't know anything about Judaism though, but is that a thing?
Yeah. So what I'm gonna say is probably gonna sound crazy to the average non-Muslim person.
Great.
But Allah promised in the Quran that He would protect the religion of Islam from corruption. I mean, Allah promised that He would protect this religion, and so we have what's called there's an entire science to Islam, and it's called the science of Isnad. Isnad means chain of narrators. So now you can say, up until to this day, you could say Allah said to Jibril, meaning the angel. Jibril said to Muhammad. Muhammad said to his companion so-and-so. His companion said to so-and-so, who wrote it down, and then it's been in a book ever since then.
Jibril is Gabriel?
Jibril, yeah, Gabriel.
So but that's also a biblical angel, right?
Yes, absolutely. As I said, prophets and messengers, all of this is all the same. This is the Abrahamic faith. So, I mean, in that regards, there's like similarities till the cows come home. Yeah. So we have this chain of narrators and everything, and you can, just like vetting, and this is the beauty of vetting, because now there's a vetting process for narrators. So now this person was known to be a liar, but he narrated a statement of Muhammad, peace be upon him. We don't take his terms. This person was known to be a fornicator. If he was known for having sex out of marriage or doing goofy stuff, his narration was not accepted because he was considered to be an untrustworthy person. And like Skullflex says, memorization also. The Quran is generally memorized. That's why it's such an honorable thing for a person to be called a hafiz. He's someone who memorized the Quran. The
whole book.
So, the whole book.
Holy shit!
I've memorized like the last quarter personally. So it's like. And it's not even my language, So I mean, you have to imagine we have an entire religion like this, like where it's like there is so much value put on authenticity of the source of where you got it from, that it's like when someone comes along and says, "Well, Islam says this," and you're like, "Where's your proof? Show me in a book somewhere from someone authentic that's in the religion." And that's why so many people come along. They try these, women can lead the prayer in masjids, and then those masjids suddenly disappear. Nobody hears about them anymore. Oh, we have like this LGBTQ transgender masjid, and it's in the news for a week, and then it's gone. Because nobody goes there because it's like, were you people crazy?
That's not a thing. No,
it's not a thing in Islam. You might catch a few stragglers, but most of us, we're going to be like looking at you crazy over there, like.
No,
where are those jihadi guys when you need them? Where are those crazy dudes?
Yeah, exactly. Bring out the jihadis quickly.
All that crazy nut job terrorist dude over there, man. I ain't saying do something. I'm just saying, did you see them over there doing crazy stuff, bro?
Yeah.
Mad, ain't it? We don't do that. We don't do that, bro. I'm not inciting or saying it's okay.
No. We're having fun.
But someone will say like, "Oh, AbuAmerican said," you know how the internet is, bro. I'll just cloud
it. Someone else asked, like, can you do this? Can you apply these principles without converting to Islam?
Which principles exactly? I mean,
let's see.
It's very, very broad question. It's like
apply these principles without converting to Islam. I assume he's talking about like the relationship stuff with the.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't see why not. Why wouldn't you be able to? I mean, in general, I mean, there's no, what do you call it? There's no exclusivity here in terms of like how you regulate the relationship as a man. The simple fact of the matter is, because women expect you to take care of everything in a relationship. She wants you to take care of her financially, physically, emotionally. It goes without question that you should dictate the direction of the relationship in general.
Yes.
So absolutely, you should be able to use this outside of Islam, because the reality is you should be in charge of your relationship, whether you're Muslim or not, because when it goes in the night, she expects you to go downstairs and see if the guy down there has a knife or not.
True. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah. And that's the, I don't know, that's always been the case. I think like even biologically, we understand that this is the case. Like this is nothing new. It's not like
Absolutely.
you're, dropping like esoteric wisdom here. Like everyone knows this is the case, but we just pretend it's not.
And here's the thing. You'd be amazed at how many women actually want you guys to do it. Listen to the non-Muslim viewers. I take it that's the majority here. Guys, these women want it. You listen, I'm in Germany right now, and all these like refugee guys came over here, and guess what all these German girls did? They ran to these guys like mad. You know why? Because they don't tolerate BS. And believe it or not, and it's not in a crazy, again, don't nuance here, guys.
Yeah.
They want to be put in their place. This ain't talking about Hadoken Superman punching her in the jaw when she does something. That's not what we're talking about here, guys.
Don't do that. No.
But they want a guy who's willing to walk away, to be firm, and inflexible. And it's like in the West, somehow it's like guys are like, oh, okay, Susie Q. It's like, that's not what they want. So yeah, absolutely, you can exercise this stuff because these guys, they're dating German girls. They're not practicing Islam. They don't care. They're just being how they would be in their society with their women. And women love just absolutely masculine men who don't take crap.
Yeah, it's interesting. You use the word inflexible. That's a good word, actually. Yeah, rigid. So
they love that because they think they can change them. They'll stay even longer when they think they can change them.
I one of the questions that I got from someone else is like, and I was curious about this as well. What's up with dogs and Islam? Is that do you get to have dogs? Is that a thing or not?
No, you can't. You can't have dogs in your house. You can have dogs, but you can't have them in your house.
Okay.
So you have to have specific reasons to have dogs in Islam. So the security and hunting. Otherwise, in general, it's not allowed to have them. And you can't have them inside your house because there's a prophetic statement that says the angels do not enter into the house in which a dog resides. So if you want the blessings, in your house, then you can't have them inside your house.
So is it like, is this one of those things where you don't really know why, but it just is, or are they unclean, or
there is a degree of uncleanliness to it? Like if they lick your plates or something like this, there's a certain amount of times you have to wash the plate, to fix the cleanliness. You have to make it's called ablution. Like when you clean yourself, if they lick you and these types of things, you have to make ablution again. So there is a degree of what's considered to be ritual impurity, not bacterial. This is different than science and religious. So there is that in play it also. But I want a dog so bad, man. I grew up with them.
Yeah, I love dogs, man. Cats are gay, but dogs are cool.
Cats are annoying.
Yeah,
I got a cat here, this Russian cat, and this thing just walks around meowing all day. I'm glad it's not in here, bro.
But you can't have cats. They don't say anything about cats.
You can have cats. Yeah.
Okay. Like alligators as well.
I don't know. That's a good one. I was like, wait, what?
It's not in the book. Yeah, if it's not in the book, you can have it.
I don't know.
Like a hippo, doesn't matter.
I have to look that one up, bro. I don't know. I know you can eat alligator. I know it's permissible to eat alligator, but I don't know if you can have them as a pet.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to clear that up. Very common question, this. Something else I wanted to ask you. This goes into like a topic that is a little far out there for a lot of people. You said something, this is a while back in your tweets, where about possession being real.
Yeah.
Like people being possessed by spirits, and you even having experience with a wife, I believe that. Can you talk about that? Because I found that really interesting and not in a, like, it's funny way. Like, I think there's something there.
Yeah. I don't know how people believe about this. Some people call it superstition. I mean, I'm even to this day, I'm not really an overly superstitious person, but let me tell you guys, this is real. The other realms, dark magics, all this stuff, that stuff is real. You shouldn't play around with it. You shouldn't play around with it in terms of underestimating it either. When I say play around, that playing around means underestimating it also. You know, because you don't have to believe into something for it to affect you. You know.
True.
So anyway, yeah, I had a wife. She was affected by magic. In Arabic, in a religion we call it sihr, magic. And it was apparently some magic or something from someone who was very close to it. They put it in her food, and it caused her to see shadow beings. I think what they call them here in the West, they call them shadow people. We call them jinn. You know,
bro, I've heard people talk about that recently. That was weird as fuck. People saying,
Ghosts.
I've been seeing more of them.
Yeah,
I never saw them before.
They're jinn. We do believe in jinn as Muslims. You know, jinn, they're another form of creation. I guess we could, if we talked in like Western scientific terms, we would probably call them trans-dimensional beings, you know, I guess, for lack of a better term. People like to call them ghosts, but they are, you know, they are intelligent. They are, you know, living beings with free will, just like human beings. They like to apparently, you know, play with people's minds. And she was possessed by a jinn. And there was a situation where I wasn't the most practicing. I was having GETTR, like I said, it was a crazy place for me. And so I was having all sorts of problems, and I wanted to start practicing my religion again. And when I started practicing my religion again, my wife really started having the effects on her, because what they like to do is they like to pull a person away from their religion. And on her body, on her rib cage, right underneath her breast, I saw this with my own eyes. I still have the video, but because it's a sensitive area of the body, I can't show it. But I swear by Allah, I have it. It was like someone took a finger and was writing on her, and her skin was like changing color. And it was like an O, it was a U, it was gibberish for us. Yeah. But it was definitely letters and writing. And I was watching it real time. I pulled it out on my phone. I saved it. I have it saved on the cloud to this day. And it was like, it's like if someone tanned your skin darker wherever they touched it. It didn't wipe off. It was literally the skin changed color. And then for a while, she didn't go outside because it started appearing on the back of her hands and like all over her body. And so she didn't go outside for days. It was the great dude. I freaked out. I literally left GETTR like maybe 2 weeks later. I packed my stuff up and I was like, we're done.
I can't do this. Yeah.
It was crazy, dude. It was, but I've never underestimated like, you know, other world stuff in my life.
Again. I mean, but how did that, like, did you fix it? Is
no,
like an exorcism, or
I fixed it on myself. I went and got what's called ruqya. I got myself. It's called ruqya. I don't know what. I guess maybe it's exorcism. You know, I got myself whatever else. I had like a spate where basically during my exorcism, I know this sounds crazy, guys. It really must sound crazy, but I like straight vomited for like maybe 3 days. I was laid out in bed. I couldn't move for like a week. I was literally laid out in bed. I had to have people come take care of me. I was just vomiting for weeks, you know, like no, it was about a week, actually, not weeks. And I had people come take care of me. It was really like, it's something I wouldn't want to experience again. I had the craziest dreams where I woke up and I didn't even realize I was actually dreaming until I woke up. They were so surreal, you know, just seeing like weird, like creatures, like literally like, and you think you're awake.
Yes.
And so definitely something that's never happened to me again. You know, you could say like maybe I was on some psychotropics. No, I wasn't, guys.
Yeah, no, I get it.
No, and so I've never underestimated that stuff again. You know?
No, usually when people talk about like the shadow people, you assume they're just either nuts or on psychedelics, whatever.
I don't mess around with that stuff, dude.
Yeah, severely sleep deprived.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of it, but I don't mess with it. You know.
Yeah,
it doesn't scare me. You know, but
and I mean, when you say that someone put it in our food, like, I mean, is it like a voodoo thing or something, or do you need to be?
I guess you could basically describe it like in terms of voodoo. I don't know how it works because I never learned magic, but apparently there's something you can put in a person's food. You can do it. You can alter a person's picture. You can use their pictures. You can use parts of their hair. What they like to do is they like to get their hair, and like they like to get like DNA or hair, and then they attach it to some sort of ritual type of objects or whatnot, creepy, and then you have to find it and undo it. And if the person doesn't tell you where it is or you don't find it, it could affect you for your whole life.
So, but you fixed you, but you didn't fix her.
Yeah, she didn't want to be fixed.
Oh, really?
She was too far gone because that stuff can like really mess up your. This is another thing that we talk about in Islam. It's like sometimes when a person, you can't figure out what their psychological illness is. It's actually like it's probably just a possession, and the person's not psychologically ill. Yeah. they're probably just possessed. Some people, there's psychologically ill people, of course, but some people are possessed, and it's just, and so she was one of those people. It's like she just felt like she didn't want to get help, and I was like, you know what, I can't live with you. Sex is good.
No, you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. That is true.
Sex is good, but that crazy gin sex is just, that's too much.
Crazy gin sex. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not my thing. I'm pretty freaky, but not that freaky. Okay,
it's not going to be in the intimacy course. Don't do crazy gin sex. Don't do that. Woo! Well, but that's a scary story, man. Holy shit!
It's pretty wild, bro. I mean, if I didn't have the video, I doubt myself in the story.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
No, I talked to I talked a while ago. I talked to someone, and he had a story about his girlfriend. He came into the room. She woke up, and then there was and he showed me the picture because, as always, like when you don't see the receipt, you're like, eh.
Yeah.
And he showed me the picture, and she woke up from some sort of dream, and it was like, and there was like a burn mark on her hand, and the burn mark was in the shape of a man, basically, also obviously like an Arabic man, like a Muslim man. Like you guys are into that, I don't know, but but it's if you see the picture, and like you saw the video, you see it up close, it becomes real. Like it's before that it's not real, and then suddenly it's real. It's creepy, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Don't
have noticed it earlier, but hey, there were signs, and I just didn't notice it. Yeah. Weird stuff.
Interesting stuff. Well, I think that's a good point to the ghost story is a good point to end it on. I mean, that's a great story. Really creepy, but great. Thanks, man. This has been very eye-opening, enlightening. Very much appreciated. I think that
you guys liked it.
Yeah, I think most people. It's not. We get like a flavor of whatever, I don't know, the whole thing with the multiple wives and the Islam is, but you don't get the whole story. And these opportunities are great because you finally get the real story and see, like, you're not some creepy dude. No, I mean, it's pretty cool actually. So that's good. Let me. Where can people find you? Where should they look you up, man?
At AbuAmerican everywhere. I'm AbuAmerican anywhere you go. Telegram. Yeah. I shouldn't have said that. Telegram, yeah. Don't mess with me, please. MySpace, yeah. I'm not on MySpace anymore, but I did have an account. But Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere you go. Even on whatchamacallit, what's that thing called? TikTok, although I'm not active there anymore. Everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. Look him up, follow him, check out his stuff. It's good stuff. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on.
I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. All right.